Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are continuing our Jober series discussing what will be happening in the election of 2024. Thank you for all of our returning viewers. And if you are new to this space, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you are having a marvelous Monday. I am Miss Uplifting T, the content creator in charge of the community and culture. Everything that you see here displayed on our channel is all about growth and not gossip, and for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you are part of the original live broadcast for Joe Over, this is a play, not a plan. Thank you. And this was just a short supplemental to that. What made me decide to come quickly and give you a disclaimer was that particular headline right there. As I said during the live, as I said on the panel yesterday, and again, thank you to Conscious TV for allowing me to come up and discuss, have a thoughtful discussion on his platform yesterday. These stories were already written. Nobody was up all night writing these stories. These stories were pre-typed when they started writing other stories they've been writing for the last 3 weeks. So if you have not been paying attention, like I said during the live this morning, this is what it is. It's what it is. So again, the people that are playing us are those people, and they are the ones that are propping up headlines that look like this. So let's quickly look and see what they had to say about why it would be important to have a Republican on Kamala Harris's ticket. July 4th style Kamala. Finally, time for Kamala to fall into the race. The vice president is well qualified. She was attorney general of the most populous state in the union, has several years' experience as a senator. Time as vice president would be invaluable in equipping her to get off to a fast start as head of the executive branch. His administration, the natural successor of the president, could avoid a contentious and messy open convention. Could one seriously consider ignoring Mrs. Harris's obvious claim to succeed without provoking immense anger among large segments of the Democratic voters? I wonder which voters they're talking about. We can see that at the end. So that's somebody from Vermont. We're going to take note of that. All right, clock it in the chat, Vermont. Finally, among the very large voters who dislike both the current leading candidates being too old, too white, or both, Mrs. Harris could be very attractive, spoken like somebody from Vermont. The next person says, I am a Democrat, and I am ready to pull my hair out with all these primarily white and male politicians, most recently Representative Adam Schiff, and pundits who call for President Biden to drop out of the race without simultaneously endorsing Vice President Harris, especially since Mr. Biden tested positive for the coronavirus. This fantastical mini or blitz primary idea subverts the will of the primary voters who voted for Mr. Biden, regardless of what polls might show. They thought then or think now about the president's age. Realists among us realized that we voted for Mr. Biden, and that meant he was our nominee. Now that we must replace him, I would like us all to recognize that the voters also voted for Mrs. Harris by name and on the same ticket. And that was one of the things I pointed out in my live this morning. Anybody saying that Kamala Harris is being foisted upon you, either number one, didn't go to their actual primary and cast their vote, or gave a damn about getting up off their ass and doing the primaries, because the names were clearly printed on there. Not as like one or the other, but no, clearly by name, you had to touch each button on the machine. Or maybe somewhere you had paper ballots and you had to actually, hang in chads, whatever the case may be. Voted for her by name. See? Touch. Same finger punch on the scene. Any elected or campaign Democrats should recognize the fact that endorse Ms. Harris in the same breath they are calling for Mr. Biden to drop out. The American people voted 4 years ago, and the Democratic primary voters voted this year for Mrs. Harris to replace Mr. Biden, should that be necessary. Anything else is skullduggery. I had to get out the for that one. It sidesteps not just one, but two choices made by Democratic primary voters. My perception of this moment is that many of my fellow white Democrats want to skip over and ignore the first successful Black Asian female vice president in this country's history to put up someone who looks more like Donald Trump and his vice presidential pick, fraud J.D. Vance. I support the Democratic Party, the core of which is the black women, and fancy that our only plausible legitimate replacement for Mr. Biden is also a black woman. Feel how you feel about how she identifies. If she ever stopped by the police, I can guarantee you they don't quibble about whether her daddy was from Alabama or the east side of Jamaica. I can promise you that, or Kenya or anywhere else. Um, it's not me. It's not the people ignoring Mr. Biden's obvious replacement. It's the actual base of our party. Why are we always courting? And I brought this up on the live. I'm so tired of us living in our diners and in little bitty teeny tiny places in flyover country, because billionaire boys have angst and they send out their millionaire boy toys. And I'm just trying to figure out in that situation who's actually tricking, who's drawing. Um, Instead of the people who brought you to the White House, child. We so tired of these low information, wishy-washy, elusive, independent voters. The amount of tension and oxygen that people stuck up in our politics is absolute disgusting. Shout out to California for unity. One notable example happened 150 years ago, and I just want to point out that that unity ticket ultimately led to the Tilden Hayes Compromise. I always say that. I'm gonna say those two words back to back, right quick fast. That would eventually destroy the South for 100 years. So I just want to point out that when we choose these consensus candidates, one got popped, and then the other person became an absolute disgrace. I may or may not disagree. We are divided as divided thin, but why not a Democratic ticket? Again, this is what we're doing. Who are we chasing? Who are we chasing with these names like Chris Christie, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, or Asa Hutchinson? Mm-mm-mm. The vice presidential nominees follows an independent will swing the election for the country's good. Good for who? That's the question I need everybody from Boynton Beach, Florida. If Vice President Harris should become the Democratic nominee for president, the perfect running mate for her is formerly Liz Cheney. Wow, this could be the story would be not only bipartisan but also feature two women. Let's see where this person is from with this pie in the sky. Interesting. Is this tribal neighbor? This keeps people from thinking independently or choosing the best two candidates for our highest office. A Harris Cheney ticket, if accepted, would energize segments of the electorate that have all been given up on being represented in this upcoming election. It's funny that these so-called people who have just completely been hurt, disenfranchised, and don't want anything to do with politics, but yet all of a sudden, when all the work has been done, all the ground game and grassroots that it takes to even pull off a primary system, or even if you talk about that stupid caucus crap in Iowa, where everybody got to show up and stand in the gym, 1,800 gyms across Iowa in the middle of the cold, but whatever. There's a bunch of people that have to show up to do that. If all these people who want to sit on the sideline and be courted like some 16th century uh handmaiden with a faint couch underneath her bottom is insane. If you need to be courted, if you need to be cajoled, kissed, and comforted into participating in a democracy, number one, that you have to contribute to financially, whether you decide to have a say in it or not, you will shop. You will live, you will exchange and do commerce. I promise you, you will give up your money in this system. So why on God's green earth would you want a university to and say, oh, I just don't have a say, I'm too busy. But them same people have time to keep up with every other form of escapism and entertainment that they are interested in. But this is too complex, even though you spend all the time in goddamn school. Washington State, not surprised. Yeah, that's something that will come out of Washington State. Because nobody in the South would believe for 1 minute of 1 second that this country is anywhere ready for not only a bipartisan ticket, but a bipartisan ticket for the two women. Okay, we suggest that the Democratic Party adopt a unite. And this is another thing. Why doesn't anybody ever come to the other people and ask them to do any of this? Why doesn't anybody ever come and ask as Barack Obama said, the God, Guns, and Gays group to do what's best for the country, to unite, to abandon their quote unquote identity politics. No, 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 no. It's always the people that are in favor of education, healthcare, national security, and gun defense. We are the ones that are always having to bend, acquiesce, moderate, and come to the middle to meet these elusive, wishy-washy, load information voters. And at this point, if that's the case, fine, leave Black women out of it. You're telling people from all these places that you keep seeing names. Let's keep going. Let's see where this person is from. You tell them get their asses up and get on buses, planes, trains, and automobiles and find their way down to urban centers to turn out the very vote that you need. President Biden selected a brilliant running mate in Vice President Harris, now in some moment. Has had nearly 4 years of experience being in the room where it happens and witnessing Mr. Biden work, which is what I said. And most importantly, Mr. Biden has given her his endorsement. And as I pointed out in live this morning, like technically, lady, it's president every time the man has a colonoscopy, okay? How many hours they put in? If he got a CT scan, if they had to put him under, like the lady has already been president. And no offense, we had somebody that stuffed more booger sugar up their nose than kids stuffing their mouths on Halloween. And we had another person who ran almost his entire presidency from in front of a TV screen full of junk food and Diet Coke. So no, this was not about what this was about. So that's why I stopped right quick to show you what was going on. I told you that's what these people was going to be up to. We all knew that this was going to be the play because, again, these people here have nothing else better to do with their time and life except for this guy because he's in jail right now. So he's got bigger problems than the rest of these people on this list. But I do hope that the people who are responsible for most of the chaos and confusion that we have seen with Joe Biden and this election over the last 3 weeks, I hope those people will finally get their comeuppance in November. Because if good people decide to get together and save this democracy, save her from herself, save from further forces that would let crazy people in government round up citizens. I just want you to think about how crazy it is. Even if they rounded up 100,000 citizens, what do you think another million or two would just get up and leave? What does your economy look like? You don't want to be in those cities when those grocery store shelves start running empty. And this ain't me being doomsday-ish. This is me looking at the plan that's being proposed and understanding basic economics and knowing that that does not end well for marginalized or disenfranchised people. You will be cooked. You are on the menu. So I hope everyone stays safe. You know, I'm always appreciative when you get a chance to spend a little time with me. May blessings chase you down. May trouble never find your door. May all good things be unto you. Level up. There is power and purpose within you that the community needs. Clearly, we have lots of hurting people running around here, so give them a little space and a little grace. And until next time, be safe. Take care of yourself. And please, please take care of each other.